Oh, you are tuned in to Exhale into Life with Regina. This is my first show. Can you believe it? On WJZZ, the coolest station in the world. Today, I am going to be talking to you about Exhale into Life with Regina, and my tagline is when Regina speaks, everyone listen. Now I'm about to date myself because if anyone remembered the commercial, it used to say, when E.F. Hutton speak, everybody listens. And I used to love that. And I began to observe when I walked into rooms, talking to people, speaking to an audience, that I would grasp people attention. I would grab their attention. And I would notice it, and then people would say to me, wow, you really held the attention of your audience. And I was like, really? So I started to realize that that was a gift, my superpower, the ability to hold others' attention. And so I'm hoping on today that I'll be able to hold your attention from 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock today. As I said, this is my first um, episode, I should say, or live stream is a better way to say it. I used to do the live stream with my sister in love, and her name is Michelle Turner White, or Michelle White Turner, however you want to say it. And we would come together every Wednesday and speak on community updates and enlightened heart services. And so now she has the show by herself, and I guess I've been promoted to the show by myself. So I really want to invite you to follow us on live stream with WJZZ, the coolest station in the world. And you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, Twitter, and please make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. And also comment because we really want to hear from you. I am in the process. Be patient with me today, and really, this is an adjustment for me. I'm going through a transition today, and so I invite you to follow me and to walk with me, to journey with me. I think that's the best way to say it. One of the things that I wanted to do as I share it with you is really give some knowledge about exhale. Well, exhale, and it really resonated with me from the TV show Waiting to Exhale. And again, I'm dating myself because that movie came out in 1995, and it was uh, written, or it was filmed from the book of Terry McMillan, Waiting to Exhale. And it had Whitney Houston, Angela Bassett, Angela Bassett, Loretta Devine, and Leela Rochelle, or Rashawn. And these women, they took this journey as African American women in their 30s, and they were striving to navigate their lives in relationship and friendship. And one of the things that you saw that these women were struggling in their love relationship. If you ever go and look at the movie, Angela Bassett torched her husband's car. That was a scene when we were sitting in the show. Everyone clapped, uh, and that she was so angry for him having an affair on her. Then you had Whitney Houston. She had a relationship with a married man. Then you had Leela, who was off and on a relationship of someone cheating on her, I believe. And then Loretta Devine actually ended up in a relationship with Gregory Pitts. I think that's his last name, but he was an entertainer, uh, tap dancer, and she is the one that ended up finding real love, and she had a son. But in watching that and remembering that, they all was reaching for that exhale. Some of them exhale was having sex. Some of them exhale was really being freed from a relationship. But whatever it was, they were able to take a breath. So what is your exhale? My exhale is recognizing that I do love connecting to other people. I love talking. As a matter of fact, connecting with you as my audience is going to be fun and exhilarating for me because I love connecting. I want to encourage you to also call in. And Roger, I did not put the number out here with me. And I know it's the same number that we had. If you can text it to me, that would be great. And you can also call in and, share your comments. So, what is your exhale? So, one of the things that I want to do is to do a breathing technique. That's the way I really want to open up on Fridays from 4 to 5 p.m. every Friday is we are going to be taking those breaths. And one of the things about breathing, it allows you to be mindful. You can tune in to yourself and it allows you to focus because you're breathing. So I'm going to ask that you take a couple of breaths with me today. And so on a count of three, one, two, three, take your first breath. One of the things that I do when I take breaths is make sure I'm breathing during my exercise time. I really strive to get up every single morning and exercise, but at least 4 days a week I am exercising. And I am purposely tuning in to my breath and making sure that I am exhaling and inhaling. It's very important to do that. As a matter of fact, it is believed that a lot of times people are not aware that they're not even breathing. And they have to tell themselves, breathe, breathe, breathe. How many of you do that when you have to tell yourself to breathe? I want to encourage you to take another breath with me. That's the second breath. Are you feeling it? It can also slow your heart down. It can slow your mind down. It can get you tuned in. So I want to encourage you to do that. That's real important. So again, welcome to the inaugural episode of Exhale into Life with Regina. When Regina speaks, everybody listens. And so here we go. The concept of exhale or exhale into life with Regina. What is the mission all about? Well, the mission really is about us coming together on Fridays from 4 to 6, where we're working to close the gap. And in that working to close the gap, we are going to be focused on transformative conversations. Yes, we're going to move from where we are to where we want to be. That's what we want to do. We want to make sure that we foster resiliency as well as personal fulfillment and an empowerment, one conversation at a time. I am Dr. Regina Hall. I am a licensed therapist, psychotherapist, uh, licensed professional counselor, as well as I am a speaker, international speaker, trainer, and coach. I love the work that I do. I wrote a book. My book is called Mommy, I Need You. And the purpose of my book was to share my story of the sexual abuse I suffered at the hands of a next door neighbor and how my mom didn't believe me. I wrote this book because of the healing power of God, how He healed me and going through that experience and brought forgiveness in my relationships. And so I began to really wanted to focus my life on helping others um, and finding their voice. And so I'm going to encourage you that this show is truly about finding your voice. And we don't have to find our voice because I have been labeled as being aggressive. I have been labeled as being argumentative, uh, as being obstinate. Uh, Various labels have been attached to me. Angry black woman, those type of labels. And one of the things that I did have to come to grips with, that I needed to understand that I had a powerful voice, and at times the way that I may have come off wasn't pleasing in people's ears. So just learning how to be more pleasing in ears when and having that empathy and understanding, but at the same time being who I am, transitioning in a way that it allows me to not only be heard, because as I said, people tend to listen, but for me actually to have an impact on who I'm speaking to in a positive and loving way. How many of you had experienced those labels from others? I bet many of you, because we have a tendency to label people in this society. We label a lot, um, and we label ourselves. Sometimes we have labeled ourselves as not good enough or not enough. We may have labeled ourselves as I've heard people say, Re- Regina, that was really stupid. That's a label. Or I've heard them say to themselves, wow, that was stupid of me. It's a label. I'm crazy. That's a label. So you have to be careful on how you speak to yourself. And finding your voice means also being careful how you speak to yourself, how you talk about yourself, how you refer to yourself. See, that's finding your voice. That's that exhale into life, right? So that's what we want to do. We want to be really careful on uh, how we treat ourselves. I have this technique which we call the double standard. The double standard technique is when you find a problem that you may be having issues with, right? And so you begin to uh, identify that problem. Once you have identified that problem, one of the things that you want to do is you can either talk to a chair, or you can talk to a friend, or whatever it is that would help you. But the double standard really is finding compassion for yourself. It means that you're going to be careful in the way you talk to yourself. So when a lot of times my clients come in and I'm hearing them talk to themselves in kind of a very destructive or not nice way, I will say to them, hey, let's try the double standard. And in the double standard, I tell them, I'm your clone. That's what I am. I'm your clone. And I've gone to all the schools. My parents are like your parents. I've had those same life experiences. And right now, I'm going through the same problems that you're going through. And I'm going to give me a name. So the name could be Cheryl or whatever. And so I'm going to come to Cheryl, well, I'm Cheryl, and I'm going to come to that person and say, hey, I'm really feeling down and bad about the way I talked to my child today, and I just really feel I'm just really being stupid, and just I'm just really have annoyed myself, and I'm just wondering, what do you think about that? That what in this situation, I know I could have said it better, and then the other person may have said, well, parenting is really difficult. And so I know that you're labeling yourself, but parenting is really hard. And sometimes we just got to take a break from our kids and move away from them, to really uh, get rid of our anger and annoyance. And so, I don't think that you're dumb or stupid. I just think that you're human. And then we'll say to the person, now, is that true that what you're saying to them, you really mean that, what you're saying to me? You really mean that I'm not dumb or stupid, or, that I just really needed to take a break from my child? And then the person who's actually the patient will say, yeah. And then I ask them, well, if it's true for me, would it be true for you? Would it be true for you because you labeled yourself all these names and you were just being human? You had a bad moment. You didn't have a good moment with your child. But I know you love your child. So are you really dumb, stupid, ignorant, or maybe you just had a bad moment? And then they'll say, I had a bad moment. So it's really important that we begin to open up our minds, find our voice, have these conversations that are transformative, and that we can gain resilience. We can gain more footing of who we are. And so I invite you, please call in. You can reach us at, I believe Roger did send the number to us, and my guest is here now. Okay. So we're going to hold off on the phones at this time. But please go to our Facebook page. You can go to WJZZ, Cool TV, the coolest station in the world. Right now, you are tuned in and you are watching Exhale into Life with Regina. When Regina speaks, everybody listens. So right now I have my guest here, Deborah Crowley. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes, well, we are glad to have you here, Deborah. And I know that it was a little rough getting here, but I appreciate you pushing forward. How about that?
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
So what I'm going to do, Deborah, I'm going to get right into your bio, and then we can get right into the questions. And I'm so happy to have Deborah here with us today. Deborah Crowley. Deborah Crowley is a entrepreneur, African American female entrepreneur. She loves people. She loves God. And I'm going to give you more information about her. She says that she is on a mission to help protect individuals and entrepreneurs with access to the justice system, with legal service and identity theft protection. She is an ambassador and subcommittee member of Ladies of Justice. Through her journey, she has opened 3 companies such as Crowley and Associates, helping entrepreneurs build their business, exclusive cleaning services, providing residential and commercial cleaning. As the founder of Exclusive Cleaning Services, she employed over 50 employees. Her company also provides free cleaning for individuals diagnosed with cancer. That's powerful. And I want to say today is World Cancer Day, where we wear our red. And so, my friend Cara Thomas, she said, "Do you have on your red today?" And I said,
No.
I'm gonna have it on in a minute. So I went and got my earrings, and I went and got my necklace. Even though I had on my pearls, okay, I was like, let me get my earrings, let me get my necklace going on here. If I can have on my red. I was watching The View, and they had on red shoes, or they had on red top, because
Okay.
Kansas City is red, and so they had those things on, and I was like, okay, well, I did. I brought my red shoes, but I was like, nobody gonna see my feet. I can keep my shoes, but I do have my red on, and I do want to make an acknowledgement too, that is really for women in keeping well, because it's important that we are mentally, physically, spiritually, and mentally well, that we understand that heart attacks is the number 1 killer of women. That and heart attacks kill more women than men.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that something?
Yes.
You know, normally we focus about on the men having heart attacks, and there have been men who have had heart attacks, but women, number one killer for women.
Did not know that.
Yes,
Did not know
yes.
that.
It
Okay.
says it's more than twice as likely, women are more than twice as likely to die from a heart attack than men. So that is amazing to me. You know, right, we don't know that. And it's something we need to know. And what are some things that would cause that for women?
Yes.
Stress. Yes, stress. You know, trying to be superwoman, too many things in the pot.
Work. Work.
Work, yes. Being
Entrepreneurs.
in places, entrepreneur,
Entrepreneurship.
being in places we really don't want to be, continuing in those type of activities,
Children.
children, all of that. So it really takes a lot. And you know, 80% of households in Detroit are single moms. That's a lot of stress. And a lot of women are working 2 and 3 jobs just to make ends meet, you know.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
it is. And so when you really think about it, women have to really take care of themselves. And it is the number one killer, which that's something that, Deborah, like you said, we don't really talk about.
About it.
And it needs to be talked about.
Absolutely.
So I would encourage you, get your red on today. How about that? Just, you can even put on a pinky ring, or if you got something, Deborah has on red fingernail polish. I'm telling you, that's really important because we need to understand and become aware of what's killing us. The foods that we eat, oh my, the foods that we eat are awful.
Chemicals.
Chemicals, yes. So we have to be very careful what we putting in our body, what we are allowing in our presence. And that is another way that we establish our voice. That is another way that we exhale
Heck.
into life. Really, isn't that something? So let me go on and read. I'm sorry, I stopped with that pause. Okay. So as the founder, and that was when cancer came up, right? So for over 14 years, her tenure has been a noteworthy leader in the cleaning industry. Founder, owner of exclusive elderly resource center, supporting the elderly with the essential needed to live on life terms with a satellite office in Georgia. That's wonderful. We have to talk about that.
Okay.
Deborah has worked for Fortune 5 companies such as McDonald's Corporation, Xerox supporting GM litigation, Easter Seals, and more. Her tenure with corporate America has provided her the knowledge and skills to pursue her own companies. Deborah has been honored with recognition for supporting several charities and raising over $100,000 in contributions for companies. She is also the chair of Sisters in Conversation, which I'm a part of, and city chair of Livonia for the Michigan charter of G100 Wellness and Wisdom, which I'm also a part of, the G100 Wellness and Wisdom. A member of AWN Amazing Women Network, Angel of Life Development Board Vice President, Nations Women's Association, and the Livonia Chamber of Commerce. An author of 2 books, collaborating with other authors, Divine Feminine and Joy 365. She is a mother of 2 sons, Terrell and Devon Wallace, and 2 grandsons, Braylon and Wes Wallace. Is that right?
Yeah.
Right. So welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
So
Thank
welcome.
you.
Well, you are on Exhale into Life with Regina, live streaming on WJZZ, the coolest station in the world. And please make sure you go to our social medias, Facebook, Twitter, Twit. I think I'm saying that right.
TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok. That's right. And please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much. So, Deborah, let's start off. And you know, you have done a lot of things. You own 3 companies.
Mhm.
Yeah, tell us about. Let's start with the companies because it's really something to be an entrepreneur.
Yes. Well, I do have 3 companies. One of them is exclusive cleaning services, but guess what? I just sold it. The end of December. It was time for me to move on to my next journey. You know, God talks to you, and when He talks to you, you have to move, right?
Yes.
So I just sold it on December 30th. The new
Wow.
owner is amazing. Transitioning with him. Crowley and Associates, that's where I am a business strategist. I help companies escalate with all my experience in corporate and as being an entrepreneur. I'm able to help other companies elevate in their companies to determine what they need as far as human resources or with employees or anything that a company is lacking. I'm there to straighten it out. With Exclusive Elderly Resource Center, my mom passed away some years ago
Okay.
and didn't have direction, didn't know what to do. She lived in New Jersey. Of course, I live here in Michigan now. Didn't know how, human resources, not human resources, home health care,
Yes.
transportation, bringing her here from New Jersey, finding a home for her, mortgage, all her estates, her wills and powers of attorney. It was so much. And I said, I will never, ever have a senior or a sibling or a child or a sister or brother not know what to do for their seniors.
Yes.
So that's where I came up with Elderly Resource Center, and that's what I'm doing now. I even created a program to in-house their documents because a lot of times the seniors go to banks and different
Yes.
associations and they want them to get on a computer. They have no idea what they're doing and they want them to fill out paper. They want them to renew at a certain time. So with this program, I can in-house all their documents and send the documents to different locations so
That's
they're
wonderful.
on point with everything.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I love that you are helping the seniors because we found ourselves in somewhat of that situation. However, because of my background,
Mhm.
I knew a lot of the resources, or at least knew what I needed to do to go after the resources.
Mhm.
And it's very daunting when you don't know what to do, and the senior citizen becomes totally dependent on you.
Absolutely. And they
Yeah.
totally dependent on the family members, and the family members have their own lives. So
Yes.
sometimes people will say, well, what's the saying? A mother can raise 10 kids, but 10 kids can't take care of a mother. They
Mm.
have their own lives, right? So, and they try to do the best that they can, but that's where we come in, you know what I mean? To advocate for them and to give them what they need. So the parents, I mean, the siblings can do what they need to do as well. Of course, they'll have a hand in it, but we will be the resource person, I mean, the
Okay.
contact company
Okay.
for
And
them.
what's that business called again?
Exclusive Elderly Resource Center.
Now, is that a nonprofit?
Yes, that's a nonprofit organization. I just started it last year. I couldn't really get into it because of the cleaning company. So
Yes.
God was saying, okay, I need to move you. Because right now you need your purpose is helping the seniors. You've done all you've done with the cleaning company, employing people, helping people with cancer. Now I need you to take care of this part that this is which is really my purpose to help the seniors.
Now, you had your cleaning company for 17 years?
17 years.
Wow, that's a long time.
My 17 years, and I've employed over 200 people, and maybe more than that.
Okay.
17 years, I had a brick and mortar in Livonia too, as well, and I sold everything to the new owner. He has the office, he has the account, and my biggest account was Apple.
Really?
Apple
Okay.
Novi store. I had the Apple store in Troy, and they called me.
Wow.
Yeah, they called the office. They saw that we were doing what we were doing, and they brought us on.
That is
So I
awesome.
sold it all because being an entrepreneur is not for the weak.
That's true.
That's 7 days a week. That's what I was doing with the cleaning company, 7 days a week.
Yes, yes. And employing others, so you had a lot of
Oh,
responsibility.
yes.
Yes,
Yes.
but that is so amazing that you were able to employ others because a lot of starter companies, they're solopreneurs, right? They're trying to figure out how to get it together. So give us some insight how you were able to start hiring. Because of course, well, not of course. Did you start off as a solopreneur?
Well, this is what happened. A friend of mine, I've always had that entrepreneurial experience. I mean, mindset. A
Okay,
friend of mine wanted to open a home health care.
okay,
So we started that, but we didn't have the funds to take that off. So we started cleaning. And then we were partners, and then we had another partner, her cousin. That's why I don't partner, because something happened with them and the whole company fell through.
oh,
So
really?
yes,
Wow.
yes,
Okay.
yes. So then I just started cleaning myself. And then one day I was cleaning and I hit my eye and I said, oh, I'm never going to do this again. So I started hiring people. I started the process. At that moment, I was working for Xerox Corporation downtown at the
Okay.
Renaissance Center.
Okay.
And I said, you know what? I could do this because I was going to get a franchise first. And I'm like, why get a franchise and give them all my money when I could do it myself?
Okay.
So the amazing part was like I was running that business and working full time too. Don't ever leave your full time job first, but when you're ready to start the business because you
Okay.
need that capital, right?
Right. Yes.
So that's what I did. I started the business, but I also trained. Even in the cleaning company, you still don't know everything. So with my corporate background and then training on how to run a business, I went to this organization. It's called QT Enterprise,
Okay.
and they did my business plan and everything, even for the cleaning company. And I had a board.
Okay. Okay.
So
So you had a board, so you were incorporated.
yes,
Okay.
yes,
All
yes.
right.
Even though it's a cleaning company, you still need to have that structure, that foundation, because you still don't know anything, right? So in that process of me trying to get a franchise, I met someone. This is how God works.
Okay.
She worked for what they call, I don't know if I could say it, Molly Maid.
Okay.
She
Yes.
left Molly Maid and she showed me what to do.
Oh, wow.
And then that's how I ran my business. Like I said, from corporate structuring everything, and it just took off from there.
Took off from there.
Yeah,
That is
started from
awesome.
scratch
Wow.
and I scaled it to $1 million.
To $1 million. And I
Okay.
just want to let the audience know you scaled it to $1 million during COVID.
Doing that was it, as crazy as it may seem. That was my best month. Only
Wow.
reason why, but it was a sad moment for us because we were
Yes.
out there like frontline workers,
Yes.
going into
Almost like
homes.
first responders.
First responders.
Yes.
Yeah, I couldn't say first
That's okay.
responders going in, spraying down the houses. We had a machine. It was called electric static machine, where that machine would you spray and it would get into areas where you couldn't get into. And we were utilizing the same chemicals that they utilize in a hospital. Just spray down homes, just spray down offices. I mean, I love my team because we were at risk. People were dying right around us.
Wow. So you didn't lose
Homes.
any of your employees?
No, but they lost a lot of family members. And
Yes.
yeah, it was hard.
I bet it was really hard.
It was
That was a really tough time.
oh, it was devastating. It was so lonely, but that's when I guess God, not God, God was dropping on me, okay, you need to learn everything that you need to know. And I did every certification. I learned everything about sanitizing. I learned so much stuff.
That's
And that's
awesome.
what kept me going. It was lonely because there wasn't
Yes.
anybody out there.
Wasn't anybody out there. You're right. I'm
Wasn't
Go ahead.
There wasn't anybody out there. I would come to work, there's nobody out there. It was just me in the office and a couple of my employees, and I thank them so much because they stood up.
They stood
I
up.
said it's time for us to help people. It's not about the job, it's just time. We didn't know where the money was coming from or anything, but yeah, it was crazy.
That's
Crazy time.
awesome. I also read that, just wanted to highlight that you also help the seniors in terms of, well, no, those who were cancer.
Yeah.
And so what caused you to get in helping those with
Oh
cancer?
my God.
And was it females, males? Was it
It
anybody?
was females.
Okay,
It was
female.
an
Okay.
organization called Cleaning for a Reason, and I
Okay.
was with them for about 12 years. And what they do is, and this is nationwide,
Mhm.
they pick cleaning companies to assist them. And what they do is, people with cancer would sign up with them, and they would select a cleaning company to clean that location. We would go in for 2 hours for free, and I would tell the employees, you clean for 2 hours, and then anything after that, you volunteer. But I was paying the employees to do that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it was pretty sad. A lot of our customers, they just needed companionship.
Yes.
And they would call and then we schedule them for a cleaning. They go out there and they pass away.
Mm.
So working on personal development with my staff, also with myself too, because that was a hard situation.
Yes,
You know what I
very
mean?
hard.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that was something that we needed to do, especially cancer, is here.
So what I'm understanding you to say that working in corporate, and it allowed you to segue into this business that God began to talk to you about. So that's really, would you consider that as finding your voice?
Yes, absolutely. Working in corporate, oh my God, that's a whole nother story with women owning their seat at the table.
Yes.
I've always worked for executives and presidents, and it was just so much stuff going on in corporate,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
But every time I work with them, I always watch what they did, watch how they structured, watch how they treated people, literally watch how they treated the janitors, right? And then I took that knowledge and just started the business because I, saw how everything was going in corporate. And it's different from being in corporate than being an entrepreneur. It's a
Okay.
totally
It
different
is. Yes.
feeling, yeah,
Yes.
and mindset as
Yes.
well.
Well, Xerox is a pretty big company.
Oh,
My husband worked at Xerox for 31 years. Yeah, and before he retired, now he's a tennis pro. So he found his voice in tennis. Yeah.
really?
Yes, yes. So yeah, 31 years. He was in the Southfield office. I heard you
Okay.
say you was
I know the
you was at
Southfield.
Renaissance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, what type of work did you do at
I was
Xerox?
in charge of the charity. I was in
Okay,
charge
yeah,
of,
I did read that.
yeah,
Yes.
I in charge of onboarding everybody. I think I onboarded at least 300 people. I was in charge of
Wow.
getting their computers, their IDs to get into the Renaissance Center, anything that they needed to function. I was in
You
charge of
were
that.
that person.
Yeah,
Okay, so you just transferred those skills into your own business.
absolutely,
That
absolutely.
is awesome. So you were the resource person.
Yep.
Yes. I mean, really.
Think about it.
Yes,
Oh,
you
that
were.
was good.
Yeah, you were the resource person.
And see how
Yes.
that happened in all divine order,
Yes.
according to my purpose.
That is awesome. And who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
You know,
I never thought I would open up a cleaning company or an elderly resource center.
now even that when you talked about your mom, which I can imagine that was really tough, because that is very stressful to deal with a sick parent and then have to figure out how you're going to take care of the
Oh my
sick
God,
parent. And I
yeah.
did hear you say bringing your mom back here. Um, and are you an only child?
Well, here's what happened. Right before my mom, well, no, I have a brother. And
Okay.
right before my mom got sick, my brother passed away.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and this is God just works because the amazing part, I was going to see him that weekend. Like I was ready to fly that Saturday morning, that Friday night, he passed away.
Wow. Was it natural death? Was it?
No, he fell and he had a seizure and he died.
Wow.
And
Okay.
then after that, then my mom got sick. So I was going back and forth, meanwhile, running a business, going back and forth to my mom to New Jersey like twice a week
Mhm.
because she was really sick. And every time she would get real sick, it was like, oh no, you need to come.
Okay. Wow.
So I was going back and forth to there. And then I think what was happening, I said, okay, I need to move you with me,
Okay.
move you to Michigan. And she didn't want to do that.
I can imagine she didn't. They really want their homes. Yeah.
That was a struggle. She didn't want to leave, so I was going back and forth. And then I find that a lot with cleaning for seniors too. I would go to their houses and they would have stacks and stacks of paper all around.
Mhm.
House just a mess, and had siblings like just they couldn't function. So that was another reason too to open up the senior company as well too. But going back and forth to my mom's, back and forth, back and forth. And I was going to bring her here. Not only that, my aunt was sick in New Jersey too. So I was trying to bring her here too.
Wow.
I'm the matriarch of the family, so.
Wow. That's a lot. That's an awful lot. And so just dealing with the decline of your mother's health, and now you're telling me the decline of your aunt's health, the loss of a brother, and that's a lot of transition going on, right? And a lot of loss before they even passed away, right? Yeah, and that's something that I believe as a people we don't talk about enough.
Mhm.
That how you have losses before you actually have a loss, right? So talk a little bit about that, with us, what that was like for you to, because I can imagine that you felt so alone.
Oh my God. There's plenty of times. If I tell you my history from way back when, from starting, I was I'm not going to call myself a victim. I'm a survivor and I'm doing well of domestic violence.
Okay.
So from that came two children and then leaving New Jersey with 3 suitcases and 2 sons. And then
Wow.
going through the
So you're not even
craziness.
from Michigan?
No,
Okay.
no.
Okay.
That's why I said you have to put God in the center of everything you do because
Yes.
that's what's been happening. Everything that I've been going through, I don't know, it was just designed to be that way to get me where I am right now, right? So yeah, it was extremely lonely. And I think my coping mechanism is keep it moving.
Okay.
You need a therapist too. I had a therapist. She said, "How do you turn it off?" She said, "We could talk about something dealing with your past or stress or domestic violence and all that things with your mom, and then you just turn it off." It was, I don't know, it's just something that just I had to keep it moving. I have to stay focused.
That's that. Wow. No, that's a lot. That's an awful lot. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, let me just introduce you again. We have Deborah Crowley with us, African American female entrepreneur, uh, who was able to reach her first million during COVID. That is awesome. And now has sold her business. And hopefully, this is an encouragement for those who are tuned in. And I do want you to know that you are tuned in to Exhale with Regina. I'm sorry, Exhale into Life with Regina. When Regina speaks, everybody listens. And so you are live streaming with us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, if I'm
TikTok.
saying those right, because I'm not always in TikTok. Yes, TikTok. And you please share, like, comment, and subscribe. We will and follow. We would love for you to become a part of our audience. But again, I am speaking with my African American female entrepreneur sister, Deborah Crowley. And so, Deborah, you mentioned something that I like to even go beyond the survivor, right? You said, I'm a survivor of domestic violence. And of course, I can imagine that when you think about going through what you went through, and now you're at this stage of your life and being in that hopeless situation,
Mhm.
because I can imagine that there are times where you felt hopeless and that you couldn't do it right, you couldn't get it right. What are some words that you have for women? Because this is Valentine's month, relationship month, and a lot of times women stay in toxic relationship, even though there's some great ones out there too.
Mhm.
But tell us a little bit about what you can say to women
Mm.
and helping them to find their voice.
Find their voice. Stay focused.
Mm.
Um, Love yourself first.
Which is hard.
Yeah, that's very hard. That's so hard. A lot of women don't love themselves first because they just don't know how. Some
Yes.
women can't even talk about themselves. A lot of times I do different podcasts and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
and I ask women because they want me to read their bio. I'm like, I need you to talk about yourself.
Okay.
And
Okay.
that's the hardest thing for them to do, right? They can put it in writing, but I need you to tell me about yourself. But sometimes I'll say, okay, give me a word that describes you. And
Yes.
that's hard.
It is hard. It is hard. Yeah.
But then you have to think we've been sheltered for so long back in the day and years. Like a lot of times we don't have a voice, but now you have an opportunity to have a voice. Stay
I love
focused,
that. Yeah.
love yourself, put God first, the center of everything that you do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Everybody doesn't have to know everything about you.
That's right.
You
I
know what I
love
mean?
that. Yeah.
And even, but listen to this, if you have a story, you need to share it because it's no longer yours
Yes.
once you share it because you can help somebody.
You can
That's why
help
I love
somebody.
doing this.
Yes.
And I really just started sharing my story ever since G100
Okay.
because I was so quiet because I'm a doer.
Okay.
You wouldn't think the way I'm talking now, but I never shared my story because I didn't think my story meant anything
Mm.
until I start sharing my story and people were listening.
Okay.
Right? Listen.
Yes. Yes.
Listening. So just sharing your story, staying focused, loving yourself, setting boundaries
I love that. Yes.
because you can give yourself too much to people and they just drain you. Like if your cup, as they say, your cup should be full for you first,
Uh huh.
right? And then empty it for others, but it should be full for you first, right?
Yes, and then go back and get it filled
So
again, right? Yeah, that is so, so true. Well, tell me, how long were you married?
for about, oh, not long, maybe about 4 years,
Okay,
four
four
or five
years.
years, and had two
Wow.
sons. It was a blessing to have them sons. He was my Prince Charming at first, but you see signs.
Uh
Don't
huh.
stop ignoring the signs.
Yes.
Stop ignoring the signs. I saw signs, but when you're in love,
You don't see it,
You
or you
don't
don't
see
want to
it.
see
You
it.
don't want, you
Wh-
see it, but you
Yes,
don't want
you
to
don't want to
see
see it. And
it.
not only do you not want to see it, you don't even know how to interpret it. You know,
That's
I
right.
really believe that. You don't know how to interpret it.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Mm-hmm.
and, and so I do encourage women, even my daughter, get to know a person. We live in a society where the first thing you see on television, they jump into bed and then they getting to know one another.
Yes.
Let's go the opposite, right? Let me get to know who you
Right.
are. Then let's see, do we want to do this other thing? Because you see it so much on television that I think you can begin to believe that is the way you date.
Date. And I think they think that the young people think that's the way you
And
date.
it's not the way you date. And when you haven't had healthy relationships in your faith, I encourage my clients, okay, you may not have had healthy relationships, but there are books that are out there. There are some healthy relationships that are out there. So I really encourage women to take advantage. And if you don't like reading, listen to the book. Okay? Go to seminars, listen to a YouTube, whatever it is, increase your knowledge.
It's time for, and this is where we stand, and thank you for this podcast. We have to educate people and stop
Yes,
assuming that they know, these
yes.
young women,
Mm-hmm.
because they don't know.
They
Like
don't
you
know.
said, they don't know and they can't distinguish what's happening. You know what I mean? So that's why we have to educate them.
Yes,
And
yes.
like you said, seminars, books, different things like that. But you got to put it in front of them because they don't know where to go.
Right. Because if you have lived in foolishness,
Mm-hmm.
you're not going to step out of that foolishness and go find happiness. Not too many people do that, right? Because you got to deal with the way you think, right?
And
So, and if I don't leave you with anything else, tune in to the way you think. Think about what you're thinking about.
mm-hmm.
How about that? But
Self-talk.
yes, yes. And just think about what you're thinking about. A lot of people I'll say, well, give me some thoughts, some negative thoughts that you're having around this anxiety. And they'll say, well, I don't know. I don't think I'm having any negative thoughts. No, you having them. You just don't know you having
You
them.
don't know. You can't distinguish if
Right.
it's a negative
If
thought.
that's it. And a lot of times we're not tuned in. We have thoughts coming all the time, so we're not tuned in to what we thinking. The sad thing is, but we are moving on them. Isn't that something? We're moving on them. But Deborah, our time is about to run out. I do want you to tell us about your upcoming event.
Oh, the event that's coming up is called Marriage and Relationships. I don't know where I came that. Well, yes, I did. I'm always talking to women. Women are always calling me, telling me what's going on in with their life. And I'm like, we need some people some women that have been married for a long time, years. We're going to have over 90 years of
Oh, that's
experience
awesome.
of women on this panel. It's going to be Sunday at 3:30. If you want information, because you have to register, it's $15. You can call me. Is it okay if I get my phone number?
Sure, please.
248-930-0271. And I'll send you the information. That number is 248-930-0271. We want you to be on there because guess what? These women are going to share some information that may help you. No, I'm not going to say may. They will
Help you. 90 years is
90
going to help you.
years.
Yeah. Well, Deborah, before we close out, we may have some seniors that are listening and some other people who want someone to help them with their business or need a mentor. Won't you give them your information on how to contact you?
That's another thing. Call me on my cell phone, 248-930-0271. I no longer have an office right now because I sold my business.
Yes.
However, still get in touch with me. I'm here to help, as Regina knows. As soon as someone
Yes.
asks questions about business, I'm there to help you. And the seniors, too, call me, 248-930-0271.
Well, you have been live streaming or listening or tuned in to Exhale into Life with Regina. I have had my beautiful guest with me, Deborah Crowley. You have live streamed on WJZZ, Cool TV, the coolest station in the world. Thank you for joining us and tuning in. Be blessed.